Welcome to the BNI Knox podcast, helping members in the Knoxville, Tennessee region grow their business and make more money through the power of referrals. Now, here's your host, Andy Brassfield and Curtis Johnston.
Hello and welcome to BNI Knox podcast. My name is Curtis Johnston, your co-host along with Andy Brassfield. We have Robert Smith with us again today. How you doing, Robert?
Great, sir. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. We have a very interesting topic to discuss today. One I think is very relevant. The title of our topic today is the new normal. With the social distancing we're all thoroughly enjoying, we have to figure out, we're not going to go back to normal. We're transitioning into a new normal. And what does that look like? So we're going to have a conversation around that. And hopefully you can pick up some ideas or tips on how to keep your business moving, maybe even accelerate. So when we're all back to when we've all transitioned to the new normal, we'll be that much more in a position to have lucrative businesses. So Andy, you were sharing some stories with me earlier before we came on. What have you got to say, my friend?
Get up off the couch and do something about the situation. Okay, so earlier today, I reached out to a mortgage friend of mine. I said, hey, how's it going? And he said, I lost 3 deals today. And, that's huge. And it's a result of stay at home. The current situation, we sometimes like to vaguely call this the current situation. I know that someday in the future, we're all going to look back on this historic time and say, back then we called it the current situation. And so I asked him, I said, well, what do you do? Is there light at the end of the tunnel for you and your business? And he replied real simply, July. So we're talking, he's thinking 3 months down the road. And my interpretation of that is this: he's looking to fill his pipeline.
Right.
And I know that every business is different, but we all have a pipeline to fill. And as we look at transitioning to the new normal, so where are we today? And then where are we going to be? And I thought it was really awesome, Curtis, that you caught yourself saying, going to go back to the normal. No, right. And then you stopped and said, no, we're transitioning. And it's all about that kind of a mindset. We're going to transition to whatever the new normal is. So in looking forward, looking down the road, with a couple of things in mind, we talked about filling the pipeline. So what kind of activities can we do to fill that pipeline? But then also, what kind of shifts do we need to make today in our mindset? What is our business going to look like in the new normal? Is the product going to be the same product? It reminds me of a story from back in the housing bust of 2008. Robert, you tell me if I've got the wrong year, but I think it was 2008 when the residential housing industry collapsed. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Meisner, the founder of BNI, he tells a story about running into a realtor at an event during that time period who said he was having the absolute best year he had ever had. And this was the complete opposite, according to Dr. Meisner. What he had been hearing from other realtors was, gloom, doom, despair, agony on me. Whoa.
Sure. Right.
That's what he was hearing, all of that. And then he runs into this realtor who says, no, man, I'm having the best year of my life. And so he paused and he asked him about it. What are you talking about? How is it that you're having the best year of your life when all these other realtors talking about how bad it is? He says, listen, real estate is on sale. They're having a huge markdown, clearance special.
Okay.
So what does that mean? That means that he had a unique way of looking at the situation, not just for the sake of being unique and different, but for the sake of finding a solution. All right. And we're each in a different industry, a different business, right? And as we look at our business, we're going to have to say, where's the fire sale? What's on clearance right now? And then
Right.
who can I match it up? Who can I match up with that? So the guy in real estate that we were referring to a second ago in 2008, he matched up the properties that were on markdown, on clearance, if you will, with investors who were looking to buy low and sell high.
Oh,
Or maybe
okay.
they were looking to buy low and hold, and they rent that out and
Sure.
create revenue, make an income stream. As other people are selling their houses, losing their houses to foreclosure, they're going to come to these investors now and rent. So as you look at your business,
Yeah.
where's the fire sale? How can you match up a client? Maybe the client looks a little different today than they looked before.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe your business had to close the doors. That reminds me of something that I just heard yesterday about Chesapeake's restaurant. You may be familiar with Chesapeake's downtown Knoxville seafood restaurant, seafood steaks, wonderful place to eat.
Sure.
Kind of pricey for me. McDonald's is more in my price range, but Chesapeake.
That's because you've got 18 kids at home to feed, right? You go out to eat, it's a car payment.
And Lord and the dogs. But so Chesapeake, they've opened up a new location over here on Parkside Drive, and I call it new because the original Chesapeake's downtown has been there since I've been in Knoxville over 30 years.
Sure.
And so they've got this location over here. It's a seafood restaurant. And all of a sudden they're being ordered to close their doors, and not to have people in the restaurant. And I can only imagine that they were looking at the refrigerator full of all this meat, seafood, beef.
Yeah, high-end food, a lot of money.
High end, yeah. Lots of money tied up in it. And thinking, what are we going to do? And what they did was amazing. They decided to become a meat store. And they've been selling meat out of their restaurant. Now, do you think that Chesapeake's is the only place in the food distribution chain that is setting on meat right now?
I'm sure.
How about their suppliers? Are their suppliers maybe sitting on meat? Do you think their suppliers might be willing to sell some of that high quality meat to Chesapeake's at a discount?
Right.
So that Chesapeake's can turn around and sell it at the curbside for people who pull up in the parking lot.
And keep the doors open, yeah.
And keep those doors open.
Right.
Absolutely. So this is where you got to look at your business and you got to say, what's changing? Does the product change? Now, in the Chesapeake's example, the product didn't really change except for how it was presented. Normally, they would prepare the food and present it on a plate. Now they're packaging the food and delivering it to curbside.
So it's just presented differently. It's the same product, essentially.
Same product, but it's presented differently. It's marketed a little bit differently. Okay. So how do you apply this to your business? If your business has been impacted and your clients are not spending the money that they normally spend, and you're worried about how am I going to make it?
Right.
Get up off the couch and do something. Look at your business. Look at other opportunities. I've said it before. Find the area of need and move toward that need.
Mm-hmm.
There's still needs in the home services industries and in delivery. Listen, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with you putting on another hat. There's nothing wrong with you tying on a different apron.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna look. If you have to go deliver for Uber Eats and you've got a reliable car, why not? You
have to do what provides for the family, what provides for your business.
That's right. That's right. So this is where we're talking about how to transition to the new normal.
Right. I know Josh Wright, the pressure washer in our chapter, he typically looks at, it's not pressure washer. He doesn't like the word pressure.
He doesn't like
chemical miles in a bucket. I don't know.
Because he does soft wash too.
Soft wash. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. So he's a soft washer. And he typically does houses, except he's changed his focus now to playgrounds at schools, daycares, common areas, outdoors, at call centers or business parks. So all he's done is, I still have this soft wash that I provide. Now I'm not at houses because nobody's wanting really to spend a whole lot of money for that product. Who is my product? Who is my buyer now? Well, everyone's concerned about germs, and touching things. He's like, perfect. I'll just start calling on schools, and he's keeping the doors open. So there's another great example of the widget is the same, if you will. The service is the same. We just have to ask ourselves, who is now that we're transitioning into the new normal, who now is my customer base? And it may be completely different.
Robert, as we move ahead into the new normal, how do you see some of the changes coming with social distancing going to be part of that new normal?
That's exactly it. I mean, there's a lot of technology. I think that we do have opportunity there. I feel like I've actually become more efficient in my day. I don't find myself driving an hour and a half, 2 hours to go to these meetings or to meet up with clients. I'm able to do that here on Zoom. We're doing a lot of stuff with virtual tours, video tours. We're doing a lot of that kind of stuff. And so just being creative and thinking different. And my mind automatically goes to cleaners. They were cleaning houses. Well, now they're doing these coronavirus cleans. They're doing, or like even handyman, where they were inside doing kitchen remodels and bathroom models. Now they're doing decks. Well, these plumbers can still jump on that because instead of doing interior plumbing, they can go outside and they can do irrigation units or something like that. So just sort of being creative within your business, you're still doing the same thing. Or if you have to wear a different hat, but there's still some opportunity out there, it's just finding where that opportunity is. So I think that hopefully this will make us be more efficient using the tools and technologies that we do have.
I certainly know it's going to make us more efficient. We've all seen the saying on coffee mugs that said, this meeting should have been an email. And we've been to those meetings before. I get more done on a Zoom meeting than I do face-to-face. Now, I prefer face-to-face, but think about the drive time it takes for like the three of us to get together, for example, to do the podcast. We have to drive to Rob's place. We got to set the equipment up, yada, yada. But then the meet that people are hearing and seeing is the same, essentially. But now we're getting much more pinpointed and finite. Let's get in, let's do business, let's get out. It's more streamlined. I think we're going to see that across the board.
I believe that completely. And this is a topic for a different time, but I think maybe businesses as a whole will maybe get a little bit smarter with that as well and find better ways to use their personnel and their assets and hopefully help out the bottom line, especially some of these smaller businesses. Hopefully they can find opportunities, and they have taken some of these opportunities that are granted to them right now during this time that they can actually grow and still be able to be successful now, but also make them successful in the future.
That's right. That's right. Now, Andy, let me ask you, looking at this through our BNI lens, we have extra time because we're not driving. We typically have the same amount of meetings. We're still viewing our house of worship service online. We're still doing our networkings online. But now that we have some extra time, what do we do with that extra time in the BNI world?
So as part of our focus here to get into the new normal and to continue doing business, it should be use the system that BNI has already provided and laid out, but there may be some key areas where we can amp that up just a bit. For example, the normal expectation for one-to-one meetings in BNI is one meeting per week. So that's one-to-one meeting per week. Why not do 2 or 3? Amp that up. And while you're doing it, make them productive meetings. I always want to emphasize it's important for us to get to know each other, but we've got to get that done and get on past that and start doing some business.
Right.
Ask your one-to-one partners, who can I introduce you to that would help your business? These introductions can and do lead to new business. Sometimes it's a new client. Sometimes it's a strategic partner. So ask these questions that turn into productivity in your one-to-ones. Here's another opportunity for you to use the system that BNI already provides, and that's continuing education. In BNI, we call them chapter education units, CEUs, right? BNI University is full of opportunities for education. If you seem to be wondering, where can I increase my CEUs, go to BNI University. But you can also read books. You know, if you're stuck at home and you can't get out, you're looking at your computer all day on Zoom, it'd be nice to order a book from Amazon and let it come in the mail and read a real physical book. And if you'll read a BNI book, you can get some CEUs. Listen to podcasts, and then I'm going to say it again, BNI University. Go to BNI University and check it out. If you haven't been on there, there's tons of resources available over there. So increase your one-to-ones, increase your CEUs. So these are things that you have direct control over, and it's the results that come out of that activity. You don't always have control over the results. You do have control over the activity. So if you're increasing the activity, what do you think is going to happen to the results?
The results will come.
They're going to increase as well. So use the BNI system amped up just a bit during these times.
Very good. Very good. And Robert, you and I were talking about communicating with your lenders, with your banks and your mortgage people. Tell us again what you were saying.
I say don't bury your head in the sand. I call it the ostrich syndrome. If you go out there and bury your head in the sand and act like nothing's going on around you, that's the worst way that you can deal with this, honestly. If you're having issues, which a lot of people are right now, the best thing that you can do is reach out and say, hey, I need help. It takes a lot of swallowing your pride. Trust me, it does, but that's something that you can't be an ostrich. You can't just say, nothing's going on. You know, if I don't deal with it, it's going to go away, because unfortunately, it's not the case. So reach out to them. There's a lot of opportunities out there. There's a lot of things they can do just to educate you and help you, so that you know what your situation is. They know what your situation is, and you guys can come together and make a plan.
Yeah, that's smart. Just communicate with people that you're in business with. And you said when you were in the lending business, residential lending years ago, and when people wouldn't communicate with you, you were thinking, well, they've skipped town, they burned the place down, they've put concrete in the toilets or whatever. You didn't know. So if you're in a bind, be more proactive. Be proactive and not reactive. Don't wait for the notices to show up in the mail or what have you. Just call somebody and say, listen, I can't make it happen now, but there's hope on the horizon when we get out of it, blah, blah, blah. So just communicate with your people. Very good. Andy, what kind of closing thoughts have you got for us, sir?
You know, our government is provided some relief, and I want to encourage all of our small business owners to take a look at that. I feel that there's been people who have been reluctant to apply or to seriously take a look at any of the relief that our government has put in place. But I want to tell you, just like Robert was saying, it may be easier than you're thinking. What it takes is, number one, reach out to your bank. You have a banking relationship somewhere. Visit their website and look for some keywords, relief, COVID. Look for these things and see what your bank may offer. You might find that there's a pretty simple form to fill out that may offer you some relief of some type. Reach out to your lenders, especially your mortgage company, but reach out to those lenders and simply say, what do you have to offer me during these times? And you might be pleasantly surprised at the relief that's available to you, even if you're a small business. Maybe you don't even have any employees. Make those phone calls.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much for being on. My name is Curtis Johnston, along with Andy Brassfield and Robert Smith. This has been another fantastic episode of BNI Knox podcast, and we will see you again next week.